YouTube, it's Michael here, and this is going to be the first full keyboard review of the year, in which I'll be showing you everything on a keyboard, ranging from sounds, styles and features, etc. And a couple of weeks ago I have bought one of the keyboards that I have played in Germany, but since I was doing some Genos videos at the time, I haven't got round to unboxing the keyboard yet. So it's still in its box after 2 weeks after getting it. So here is the keyboard that I played in Germany, in which I will be unboxing and reviewing today, and that is this Casio CT-X5000. I played it in Germany and I was amazed by all the sounds and styles and features that it has. So this keyboard was on one of my to-get list. Now, there are 4 keyboards in the Casio CT-X range, and we have the bottom of the line, CT-X700, and we also have the CT-X800. And when it comes to the high-end models, there is the CT-X3000 and this here, CT-X5000. I will be telling you some of the differences between the CT-X5000 and 3000 on this video today. And right now, I am going to unbox this keyboard. So there's the instructions manual and some other leaflets as well. And there's the music rest. The first part of the mains adapter. And in there is the second part of the mains adapter. And here it is, the new Casio CT-X5000. So right in front of me is the new Casio CT-X5000 keyboard. I am now going to go through with you of some of the differences between this keyboard and the CT-X3000. When it comes to digital effects such as reverb, chorus, DSP, etc., both the CT-X3000 and 5000 have the same amount of DSP types, but on the CT-X5000 you have 32 reverb types, whereas the CT-X3000 has 24 reverb types. And with the CT-X5000, not counting the tone selection here, but you have 16 chorus types, whereas the CT-X3000 has 12 chorus types. And then when it comes to the delay effects, again, not counting the tone selection here, on the CT-X5000 you have 20 delay types, whereas the CT-X3000 has 15 delay types. And when it comes to user rhythms, so that you can create your own styles, the CT-X5000 here has 100 user rhythms to create your own styles, whereas the CT-X3000 had 50 user rhythms On the CT-X5000 you have a pitch bend wheel, but on the CT-X5000 here, not only do you get a pitch bend wheel, but you also have the modulation / assignable button here. The CT-X3000 did not have that. Also on the CT-X5000 here, you have two 15-watt speakers, whereas the CT-X3000 only had two 6-watt speakers. And because of the power of the speakers on the CT-X5000, as you can see underneath the keyboard, there is no compartment to put any batteries in, whereas on the CT-X3000 you can put batteries underneath the keyboard. But because of the power of the 15-watt speakers on this keyboard, there is no compartment under the keyboard for batteries. You can only use the power adapter on this keyboard. On the CT-X5000 here, you have categorized buttons for the sounds and rhythms. On the CT-X3000, you only have a list of the different sounds and rhythms categories. There were just lists and not buttons, just like on the CT-X5000 here. And the last bit of differences between the CT-X3000 and 5000 here, on the CT-X5000 you have here the line outputs, and you also have a microphone input. The CT-X3000 did not have those. So those are just some of the differences between the Casio CT-X3000 and CT-X5000 keyboard here. And right now, I'm now going to be showing you the features on this Casio CT-X5000 keyboard and show you how to use the features. Thank you very much for watching and hope you enjoy. Okay, so first of all, of this review of the CT-X5000, there's just some basic things here that I want to show you with these buttons. And first of all, I want to show you the metronome. And you can just use this tempo to speed it up. As you can see on the screen, there's the tempo. And if you hold down the metronome button, you can change the beats. So at the moment, you'll hear the dinging noise every 4 beats. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you can change that. You can change it into like 3 beats. As if it was a waltz beat. Or you can change it into 2 beats. Or 1 beat. Or no beats. You can have it up to 16 beats. So if I press this button here, on the screen it says 16, so it won't ding until 16 beats. So that's just a little tip of the metronome. Now here's something else that I want to show you, and that is the sustain. So let's just say that you don't have a sustain pedal, but you have here the sustain button. And when you press the button, it'll come up on the screen, sustain. So hopefully it'll say sustain on there, but hopefully you can see the screen on here. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of the sustain. So here is the piano sound with the sustain turned off. So you just get the normal sound. And here's the sound when I press the sustain button here. Here's what it'd be like now. So I'm not using any sustain pedal or anything like that. I just press the sustain button here and get the sustain effect. Here is something else that I want to show you, and that is the Portamento. So here's the Portamento button here. So the Portamento would sound much better if you're using synthesizer sounds, which I will get round to soon. But here is the sound with no portamento. And when I press the portamento button, it says portamento here on the screen. Hopefully you can see that. Here's what it would sound like now. So that's the portamento. Now here is the portamento effect using a synth sound, because the portamento is better with those sounds. And here's something else that I want to show you on here, and that is the auto harmonize. So you just press the auto harmonize button here, and the screen there should come up saying that the auto harmonizer is turned on. So there it is. There's the auto harmonize on the screen. Hopefully you'll be able to see that, so that when you play a chord on the left hand, you should get the harmony. So here's how it sounds normal. Then we press the left hand side of the chords to get this. And if you hold down the auto harmonize button, and then on the screen you get the different types of harmonies. There are 12 in total, so I'll show you them now. So that was the duet 1 that I showed you earlier, and here we have the duet 2. Country. Octave. Fifth. Freeway open. Freeway close. And here we have strings, so I think it would be better to use a string sound for this one. And we have the four-way open. Four-way close. Block. And finally, big band. And those are the auto harmonize types. And now I want to show you how to use the arpeggiators on the Casio CT-X5000. There are 150 arpeggiator types in total, but here's how to get access to them and how to use them. You do exactly as before, the auto harmonize button, and you just hold down the button, and then using the functions on these buttons here, 1 and 3, go to the function where it says button assign on the screen, and then you will want to assign the button as an arpeggiator. So just press full to exit, so that when you press the auto harmonize button, you'll actually get arpeggiators just like this. And to get to the arpeggiator types, just hold the Auto Harmonize / Arpeggiator button here, and you can get all the different types of arpeggiators. So I'll show you some of them now. There are far too many arpeggiators for me to show you them all, but here's some of the arpeggiator types. And also the arpeggiator gets faster depending on the tempo here. So the arpeggiator goes with the tempo speed as well. So here's some of the arpeggiator types. So that's just some of the 150 arpeggiator types. And that's how you get access to how to use the arpeggiators and getting access to changing the arpeggiator types. Now here's something else that I want to show you quickly, and that is the transpose and octave buttons. Now with the transpose, you can basically transpose the keyboard. So here's the default. And then with the transpose buttons here, you can key change the keyboard. The transpose can go up to 12, which is the highest. And it can go down to -12, the lowest. Then you just press these two buttons simultaneously to get the default transpose. And now with the octave button, you can change the octave of the keyboard. You can have it up to 3 and -3. So just like this. So that's just a quick tip of the transpose and octave buttons. Now I'm going to show you the split voice settings. So basically with the split voice is that you can have one voice on the left hand side of the keyboard and a voice on the right hand side of the keyboard. So all you got to do is just press the split button here, and on the screen it will come up with the split voice, which is acoustic bass 1. So we got the piano on the right hand side and we got the bass on the left hand side. And also, if you notice on the screen, a little icon will appear around here, which will be the left voice 1. You can also layer the split voice, which I will show you soon. And when you have the split turned on, you can also change the voices of the left hand side, just like this. And also, if you want to change the split point of the left hand voice, well, here is the default split point. It goes up to here. So that's the left hand voice, and this is the right hand voice. But you can change the split point, and in order to do that, just hold the split button, and on the screen it will come up with the split point, so you can change it anywhere you want. So let's just say we want it up here. So the left hand voice goes as far as up here, and here's the right hand voice. But you can have the left hand voice as high as you want. You can have it up to 96. So basically, the left hand side of the voice is throughout the entire keyboard. It gets as far as up here, leaving this one note the highest note as the right hand voice. But to change it back to defaults, just press these two buttons simultaneously, the plus and minus button, to put it back to the default. Now, if you want two left hand voices playing at the same time, that is possible. You just hold down the upper layer button here, because you can also have two voices layered at the same time for the right hand side of the keyboard, which I will show you in a minute. So if you just hold down the upper layer button, you can see on the screen, there you go, there's left hand voice 2. And with that, you can have two voices played at the same time on the left hand side of the keyboard. So here we have the slap bass and synth strings. And there's the right hand voice, piano. And you can also change the voices of the left hand voice too. So that's just a quick tip of the split voice for the left hand side of the keyboard, and how to change the split point to have it in anywhere of the keyboard that you want, and having a layer voice for the left hand side of the keyboard. With the left hand 1 and 2, you can change them into any of the 800 built-in sounds on this keyboard. So again, that's just a quick tip of the split voice. And now I'm going to show you the upper layer voice, so you can have two voices at the same time on the right hand side of the keyboard. It's simple really, just press the upper layer button, and on the screen you will notice that upper 2 is turned on, the icon will come up, there we go, and it will also show you the sound that it has with the upper side 2. So we got the piano and strings here. And with that turned on, you can also change the right hand side 2 voice to any of the 800 sounds that there are on this keyboard. So that's just a quick tip of the upper layer voice. And now I'm going to show you how to get to the one-touch presets on this keyboard. On Yamaha keyboards, they're called one-touch settings, but on Casios, they call them one-touch presets. So unfortunately, there's no one-touch preset button to get the right sounds for a certain style. So in order to get to the one-touch presets, there are 235 one-touch presets in total, one for each style, because there are 235 built-in styles on this keyboard. So in order to get to the one-touch presets, we just press rhythm, and we'll take this style for instance. And right now we're on the piano sound. And in order for the to get to the one-touch presets, you have to hold down the rhythm button, and it will give you the right tempo and the right voice for the style. And then when you change the style, just hold down the rhythm button again. Give you the right tempo and the right sound. Or let's take this style for instance. Just hold down the rhythm button and you'll get the right sound and right tempo for the style. And let's just do one more example. Just hold down the rhythm button and it will give you the right sound for the style. Well, when I say right sound, I mean the suitable sound. And it will give you the suitable tempo for the style as well. And that's how you bring up the one-touch presets. Now here's something else that I want to show you quickly, and that is the category button here. So as well as the categorized buttons here you have for the sounds and styles, you can also change the different categories using the category button here. So I'll show you the rhythms and changing the categories as well. So right now it's on the pops category, and you can also change the category like this. So you can change categories as I did here on this button, as well as the categorized buttons here. As you can see, I change from pops, 8-beat, 16-beat, rock, dance, etc. And you can also do the same thing with the sounds. You can change the categories of sounds using this category button here. So we have the piano category, and then the electric piano, organ, accordion, guitar, bass, strings, brass, and so on. So that's just another way of changing the categories of the sounds and styles. You can do it that way, as well as the categorized buttons here with the sounds and rhythms. And now I'm going to show you the music presets. In this range of Yamaha keyboards, they're called music database, but on the Casio here, the CT-X5000, it's called music preset. But it works in a slightly different way. On the music database on Yamaha keyboards, it gives you the right sound and right style for the song titles, but on the music presets on the Casio here, it gives you chord progressions, so you don't have to control the chords. Well, you can't control the chords with your left hand, so you've got both your hands available for the right hand melody. So I'll show you that now. You just press rhythm, and long hold the Comp button. So hold down the Comp button and then the music preset will come up. So here we have Soft Pop as the first music preset. There are 310 music presets in total, so I'm going to show you some of them. So we have Soft Pop here, so we just press the stop button and it starts to play. As you can see, I've got two hands free here, so I'm not controlling the chords on my left hand. It's automatically giving me a chord progression. And it also gives you the right sound as well. And you change the variations anytime you want. So that's one of the music presets. The chord progression sounds a lot like the song Can't Take My Eyes Off You. So let's do another example here. Again, it will give you the right sound as well as the rhythm. And here we have music preset 11, which says Rising S, which I'm guessing is Rising Sun. So that's another music preset. The chord progression sounds a lot like House of the Rising Sun. And now I'm going to give you one more example of the music presets. So let's take this one for instance. UK Pop 1. I'm not really sure what song that resembles, but that's just a quick tip on how to use the music preset. Again, just hold down the Comp button to get the music presets. And there are altogether 310 music presets. Just like that. So that is how you use music preset and get access to it. And now I'm going to show you how to store registration memories. If you press the bank button here, you see you have different banks of registration memories. There are altogether 16 banks of registration memories. Each bank contains these 8 registration memory buttons, which gives you a total on this keyboard of up to 128 registration memories. Now on this keyboard, when you get it out of the box, these registration memories are not blank, like they haven't got anything on them. Just like with the Tyros and Genos keyboards and other Yamaha keyboards, the registration memories are blank, there's nothing on them, so you have to create them yourself. But on this keyboard, there are registration memories already on the keyboard. And it has different styles for each registration memory as well. And so on. And what I'm going to do for this demonstration of the registration memories is that I'm going to fill the entire bank of registration memories into my own settings. So for registration memory, for registration memory 1, we are going to say, for this instance, we're going to select the first style on this keyboard, and for the tone we are going to select let's say a synth sound. And maybe have the rhythm on variation 3. And in order to store that, just hold down the store button here and press any one of the 8 registration memory buttons. So for this instance, I'm going to select registration memory button 1. And that is stored onto the keyboard. Oh, by the way, this is the rhythm that I chose for this registration memory. Oh, it would be good. It would be better if I turned on the comp. That's better. And have the synchro start on again. So I'm just going to store that. There we go. So once I press this button, so let's just say another registration memory, I've got this sound. And when I select that button here, it will have my settings automatically. And for the second registration memory button, we are going to, for this instance, we are going to select this style. And another pointer, you can also take advantage of the one touch preset, just like this. Just hold down the rhythm and you get the right tempo, right sound for the style. And then once you're happy with the style, I'm going to have it on variation 1. So once you're happy with your settings, we are now going to press the store button and press registration memory 2. So that's bank 1 and button 2 stored onto the registration memories. And for registration memory button number 3, we are going to select this style, just as an example. And we are going to select variation 2. And then we're going to select our sound as well. Let's try an acoustic guitar. There we go. So once you're happy with your settings, just hold down the store button and we are going to select registration memory button number 3. So that's bank 1 button 3 stored onto the registration memory. And now for the fourth registration memory button, we are going to select this style. And have it set to variation C. Oh, and have the tempo a bit high, that's it. So we're going to, that's it, variation C. And then we're going to select a synthesizer tone. Let's see which one. Yeah, just like that. And then once you're happy with it, hold down store button, registration memory button number 4. So that's the fourth registration memory on bank 1 stored. And now for registration memory button number 5, bank 1, we are going to select this rhythm. And on this one, we're going to use the one touch preset. So we just hold down rhythm and it will come up with the right tempo, right sound and style. And have select it as a variation 4. So once you're happy with that, just hold the store button, registration memory button number 5. So that's the 5th registration memory stored on that bank. And now for the 6th button, we are going to select a waltz rhythm. And we're going to select as a tone, we're just going to have this just a standard stage piano sound, but I also want to have a layer on it. So we just press the upper layer button, so we have piano. What should we have? It's on muted trumpet. Let's see. Yeah, that'll do. And we're going to select variation 3 for this rhythm. And then we're going to store that. Hold down the store button, registration memory button number 6, and then that's stored. And now for registration memory button number 7, we're going to select this style and also press these 2 buttons there to get the default tempo of that style. Then we're going to go to tone, and we are going to select a brass sound. Oh, sorry, without the layer. Yeah, just like that. And select the variation to variation 2 with this rhythm. Once you're happy with that, just hold down the store button, registration memory button number 7. So that's the 7th registration memory in this bank stored. And now for the last registration memory button in this bank, we are going to select yet another style. There we go, have a sort of a reggae dance. Press these buttons here simultaneously to get the default tempo. And we are going to select a sound, and we're going to select an xylophone or xylophone, and we're going to layer that. We'll just use another brass sound. How about a synth brass? So once you're happy with that, hold down store, registration memory button number 8. So that's the entire bank 1 of registration memory stored. And now that I've got all my registration memories stored in bank 1 out of 16, so here's bank number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now we're going to play the rhythms, and as I press these buttons, the rhythm styles and the variations will change as I set them up on the registration memory. So that's the registration memories. Again, then if you go to the bank, there's 16 banks of registration memories in total on this keyboard. Each bank containing 8 buttons, which gives you a grand total of 128 registration memories. And that is how you store and load registration memories. And now I'm going to go through with you on how to go to the functions of this keyboard. So if you just press the function button here, and then you use this numeric keypad to go through the different functions. So here on number 1 and number 3, you can go through the different functions, just like this. And as you can see on the screen here, you have the different functions that you can go on. So just like that. And right now I'm going to go through some of the functions. So the function that I'm on now is the touch, in which you can change the touch velocity of the keyboard. So if you just go through the plus and minus button here, you can go through the different velocity levels, as you can see on the screen. So right now the touch sensitivity is off. So no matter how soft or hard you play the keys, it's on fixed velocity. And if you go to light, number 2, on the screen there, you don't have to press the key so hard to get full velocity. And if you go to normal, it'll be normal velocity. And if you go to heavy, you need to press the keys a bit harder to get the full velocity. And now for the next function is the chord mod. So basically you can change the fingering type of the left hand side of the keyboard when playing the styles. So use these buttons here. Number 1 is Casio chord, which is basically a single finger chord. So you only have to use one finger to get a chord. And we have fingered 1, fingered 2, finger on bass, finger assist, and full range, which is basically the entire keyboard, the sounds and the chord. So just like this, I'll show you that quickly. So it doesn't matter which way of the keyboard you are, left or right, you still get the. So the chord range is throughout the entire keyboard. And the next function is the phrase pad, which is basically these pads here. You just press enter for this one, and you can change the different banks of phrase sets. There are 25 phrase sets in total, but the phrase pads on all the phrase sets will sound the same. So this is number 1, I'll press them all. And phrase 6, for example, which is still the same, because basically these phrase sets are intended to create your own phrase sets, which I will show you later on in this video. And also using these cursors here, you can have the pad 1, which is this button here, pad 2, 3 and 4. So let's say phrase 2, for example. And if you press enter, you can choose whether it can loop or not. So loop is turned on, so it will just loop over and over until you press the stop button. And when the loop is turned off, it doesn't loop. Just like that. And if you go to the cursors here, you can also key shift the pads. So you're basically transposing the phrase pads, just like this. It goes up to 24 and minus 24. So basically what I did is that I'll key shift the phrase pad 2, just like that, but the other pads will stay the same key, just like that. So we just put that back to normal, exit that, and then you can choose like pad 1, enter, and you can choose whether to loop that or not, or change the key shift like this. And there are some other functions relating to the phrase pads. Here we have the timing and the chord synchro. So basically what that does is when it's turned on, we just press one of the phrase pads. And with the auto accompaniment call turned on, just like this, it matches the chords you are playing on your left hand. But with that turned off, we just play the phrase pad here. And as you can hear, when that's turned off, it just locks onto that chord. It doesn't match the chords you play on your left hand. And here are some more functions. So we just exit that, the phrase pad. I forgot to mention that on my first part of the functions, some of the functions, as you can see on the screen, has an enter on there, though not all of them does. So the chord mod, it doesn't have the enter icon highlighted. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. But if I go to another function, you can see that the enter is highlighted, so you can go through the different functions relating to that certain function. So for the next function, we have controller. So we just go enter, as enter is highlighted on the screen. And basically, it has your controllers such as pedals, pitch bend, modulation / assigner wheel button, and portamento, sustain, and so on. So with the pedal function, we just press enter, and you can have things such as the pedal 1 effect. So you can select sustain, sostenuto, hopefully I didn't pronounce that wrong, soft, and I think number 4 is when you press the pedal you can automatically play the rhythm and songs without pressing the start stop button, and so on. Now moving on to the pedal functions, so we just exit that and go to pedal 1 enable. So you can press enter and you can choose whether to have the pedal 1 enabled or have it disabled. But for this instance we're just going to keep it on. And on this one we have them because there's a pedal 2 on this keyboard as well. So we have the pedal 2 effects. We can choose whether to have the same things as pedal 1, sustain, sostenuto, soft, and rhythm and song. And we exit that. Pedal. We can also choose whether to have the pedal 2 enabled or disabled. And we also have here the pedal 2 type. And we have other types for it as well. So we can have it expression type 1, expression type 2, foot switch, and so on. And now moving on to the controller functions. Just here. We're now going to press enter and choose the pitch bend. We press enter again, and we can choose the range of the pitch bend, which I will show you now. So as you can see on the screen, the pitch bend range is on 2, so the pitch bend would sound like this. But you can change the pitch bend range to make it sound like this. So it's on pitch bend range 3, 4, 5, and so on. The pitch bend range goes from 0, so when it's on 0, as you can see, doesn't work at all. You go to pitch bend range number 1, it will sound like this. But the range goes up to 24, and when the pitch bend range is up to 24, you're basically pitch bending up to 2 octaves, just like this. And down 2 octaves. So that's the pitch bend functions. Now here's another quick thing that I want to show you with the pitch bend functions, is that you can enable and disable the pitch bend wheel of the upper hand side of the keyboard 1 and 2 and left hand side of the keyboard 1 and 2. So I'll show you that now. So right now I'm going to put the upper layer button on. So you've got piano and strings here. And the pitch bend as well. And I'm going to disable upper 1 of the pitch bend, so that the pitch bend won't work on the upper hand side of the keyboard 1. So it will sound like this. I'll just turn that off quickly. Notice that the pitch bend doesn't work because I've disabled it, but it will work on upper layer 2. Or I can do it the other way around and turn that back on and go to upper hand 2 and disable that. Notice that the string stays the same even when pressing the pitch bend wheel. But the string stays exactly the same. And now we're going to do the same with the left hand side of the keyboard of 2 voices. So here we have the bass and synth strings on the left hand side. And using the cursor here, we can enable and disable the left hand side keyboard 1 and 2 of the pitch bend. So we are going to go ahead and disable the left hand side 1, so that it's fixed even when the pitch bend wheel is being used. Notice that the synth strings is still effective with the pitch bend wheel, but the bass isn't. So just like this. One second. That's better. Notice that it doesn't work because I disabled it. But when I turn left hand side 2 on, so now we're going to re-enable that and disable left hand side 2, so that the bass, notice that the bass is effective with the pitch bend wheel, but the synth strings isn't. So that's just some more of the pitch bend functions. Okay, so right now I'm going to get out of the pitch bend functions and move on to the modulation assignable switch / button. So we just press enter, and you have these different functions like this button act and button functions and modulation value, DSP, and so on. You get all these different functions with the modulation / assignable button. So the first function of the modulation / assignable button is this, is the button act. So we can select toggle and moment, and basically what moment is that you have to hold down the modulation / assignable button to have the this effect, the modulation effect. So I'm not pressing it, and now I'm holding on to it. just like that. And then when you select toggle, you don't have to hold down the button to get the effect. You just like press it on and off, just like this. Notice that the little LED button there, when you press it, it's turned on, and when you press it again, it's turned off. So just like this. So I don't have to hold the button I don't have to hold down the button this time. Now moving on, we are going to then we have the button function of the modulation / assignable button, and at the moment it's on modulation, but you can also change it to DSP as well, which changes how DSP effects are applied to tones in accordance with user settings. But I haven't got any user settings yet, so we will move on. And we have the modulation value here, which changes the value of the modulation, just like this. Oh, so it selects a different tone. Oh, there we go. Then go back to the functions. There we go, a modulation value. So it's on full, it's up to 127. Then we'll move it down. So if it went to 0, it doesn't matter if you hold down the modulation / assignable button. It acts as if it doesn't work. Now watch as I put it up. I'm holding the modulation / assignable button, and the modulation effect will start to come as I turn the modulation value up. Then moving on that, we have the DSP modulation, whatever that means on the screen. That's to do with the modulation / assignable button with the user effects. The user settings. And DSP parameters. You get all these different ones. And DSP, I'll show you some of them. Within the modulation / assignable button. And DSP value, you can turn that on or off. And another thing I want to show you is the parts enable. It's just like what I showed you with the pitch bend wheel. Now with the parts enable, you can disable parts with the modulation / assignable button. So we can choose whether to have like the upper hand side of the keyboard 1 and 2 disabled with the modulation / assignable button, and left hand side 1 and 2. So I'll show you now. We're on the upper hand voice 1, so I'll hold down the modulation / assignable button, just like that. But if I turn it to off, the modulation / assignable button won't work with the upper hand voice 1 because I've just disabled it. And now we turned on upper hand 2, which is the strings. And notice how the strings will be enabled, because notice how the piano is not getting the effect because I disabled it. But the strings are. And now I'm going to do it the other way round and disable upper hand voice 2. So the piano will get the modulation / assignable effect, but the strings won't. You can also enable and disable the left hand sides as well. Basically exactly what I've done with the upper hand 1 and 2, you can also do the same with the left hand 1 and 2 as well. And now moving on to the controller functions. The controller is the Portamento. So I'll show you that. Basically, it's to do with the Portamento button here. So we'll turn on the Portamento button to get this. And it goes way down to 0 to 127. So when you do an octave, just like I did here, just like this, it basically speeds and slows the octave, just like this. Or if we set it to 0, doesn't work at all. But if we have it on, say, 10, it'll be really fast. Or 5 will even be faster. But if we put it any higher, it starts to get slower. And put it up higher, even more slower. Or if we put it up to its highest, 127, it'll be very slow. As you can hear, you can notice it's really slow. So that's how to change the portamento effects. Basically what I've done is that that was the upper hand voice portamento. Now we can select upper hand 2, which is the strings. And do the same for that as well, and make that really slow. The piano's also getting the effect as well. Maybe we put it really slow, say 110, then you'll hear the difference. Just like that. Or let's put it way down so it's really fast and have it sound like this. Just like that. And you can also do the same with the left hand side of the keyboard as well. So there's just some more of the portamento effects and how to use them. And now moving on to the controller functions, we're now going to go to the sustain, which is basically the sustain button here. So you can have them sustain effects for the upper hand voice 1 and 2 and lower hand voice 1 and 2. So it's currently on number 5. So it will sound like this. Oh, sorry. Better turn off the portamento. And I'll also turn that off as well. So you're getting the piano. So if we put it to 0, it won't work. And then 1, 2, 3. So as it gets higher, it goes up to 9. The sustain is longer, just like this. And as you turn it down, the sustain won't go as long. You can also do the same here with the upper hand 2, left hand 1, and left hand 2. And now moving on to the controller functions, we're now going to go to the Auto Harmonize and Arpeggiator, which I showed you earlier on this video. So we press enter. And here's the button assign, in which you can assign it into Auto Harmonize or Arpeggiators. And then moving on to that, we can change the different harmony types, which I've showed you earlier on. And also, we can also, moving on, we can change the arpeggiator types as well. And the arpeggiator hold, I'll show you that quickly now. Basically, when you turn on the arpeggiator hold and select the button to be assigned to arpeggiator, and then we're going to turn that on. And then basically what that does is that you don't have to hold down the keys to make arpeggiators. You just press the key and you can let go. Just like that. See? I'm not touching anything. And at the same time, we can select different arpeggiator types. So the keyboard's doing it all by itself. I'm not holding down any keys, as you can see. So that's just a little example of the arpeggiator hold. One more quick thing I want to show you with the arpeggiator is that you can select the arpeggiator part. So you can have it on upper one and lower one. So right now, it's I have selected upper one, so only the upper hand voice will have the arpeggiator effect, just like this. Whereas the left hand side of the keyboard doesn't have that. And now we're going to do it the other way round. So it's set to lower one, and now the right hand side won't have the arpeggiator effect, but the left hand side will. So just like that. So that's some of the auto harmonize and arpeggiator functions. Now moving on with the functions. We're going to select octave. I think that's basically the octave button here. So we just go enter. And we can change the octave up and down. I know I showed this earlier on this video, but you can also do the same. We turn on the upper hand voice on. Sorry, the upper hand voice 2. And we can also do the same with this. So notice that the upper hand voice 1 will stay the same octave, whereas the upper hand 2 will be higher. So just like that. But we can also do the same as I just showed you with the upper hand. The upper hand voice 1. Notice how the piano is going up an octave, but the strings isn't. You can also do the same with the lower hand voice 1 and 2. You can do exactly as I did just now, but on the left hand voices 1 and 2. So that's just a quick demonstration of the octave functions. And now the next function I'm going to show you, as we exit that, is the split. Now I've already showed you this before with the split voice, and what the split is that we just press enter, and you can change the split point of the styles and the lower hand voices. So there's the default split point. So and then we can move that up so the styles are a bit higher, just like this. We change that back to default. And just like I showed you before, you can do the same with the split voice as well. Just like this. And another way to get to that function, as we exit that, we just exit that, and I showed you this before, but I'll show you quickly again. Just hold down the split button here, and you'll get the exact function come up on the screen. Now moving on to the split functions, we're going to exit that. We're going to select lower point, in which I'll show you quickly. And that only affects the lower hand voices, just like this. So we can make the lower voices go more higher within the keyboard, just like this. But it doesn't affect the accompaniment part. So I basically moved the left hand voice up just like this. And then down there would be the accompaniment, so just like this. And that's how you can toggle the left hand voices to go up whilst leaving the accompaniment part the same. And that's just a quick tip of the split point functions. Now moving on to the different functions, we have here the accompaniment volume, in which you can change the volume of the accompaniment style. So I'll just show you that real quick. And moving on to that, we have the song volume. So we're just going to quickly play a song bank and show you that real quick. So just like that. And now moving on to that function, we have the tuning, so you can tune the keyboard just like this. So that's basically the master tuning of the keyboard, so you can tune it. And now moving on from tuning, we have the scale tune. And as we press enter, you have these different types of scale tuning. Just like on some keyboards, we have on some of the keyboards, like say the PSR A3000, you have these Arabic scale effects. So we can change these. So here's this one, which is normal, and this one, pure major. Notice how the tuning is slightly different, and pure minor. And this one. Or if we change this to this one. So we have altogether 17 scale settings, which is almost like Arabic scales from other keyboards. So that's just some of the scale setting functions. And now to move on to the other functions, we have here the reverb, chorus and delay, in which you can change different reverb types. So right now here we're going to show you how to change reverb types. So hopefully the speaker will pick up the effects. There you go, reverb turned off. Large room, or a hall. Stadium. So you notice the different reverb effects. And so on. And now we move on from that. Ooh. And here we can change the chorus effects. So we have all sorts of different chorus and flanger types. And now we move on to that, and we can change the delay types. So there you go. And that's just a quick demonstration on how to change the reverb effects, the chorus effects, and delay effects. Now moving on to that, I'm now going to show you the equalizer, which basically is the all sorts of different equalizer presets. So I'm going to play a style, and you'll notice the difference of the equalizer effects. So we have the standard, bass plus, as you can hear, the bass is more louder, and treble plus, loudness, mellow, bright, rock, dance, jazz, and classic. So those are the 10 equalizer presets. And there's also a user equalizer that you can make yourself. So there you have it. That's the equalizer presets and how to change the different equalizers. And now moving on from the equalizer function, we are going to go to the user equalizer. So we just press enter, and on the screen we have equalizer low, equalizer mid 1, mid 2, equalizer high, input level, output level, and so on. These are the things that you can go on if you want to make your own equalizer for the user equalizer. So we just press enter on any of these. So like equalizer low, and we get all these different settings that we can have, like low frequency, 250 Hertz, 315 Hertz, and all sorts of different settings that you can have to create your own equalizer. And the same thing goes to mid 1. You got all these different settings, and mid 2. And equalizer high, we just press enter on that. We can have the same thing for that as well. And the input level, you can change that as well. And the output level. And that is how you can create your own equalizer for the user equalizer, because altogether there's, as I showed you earlier on, there are 10 preset equalizers, and there's one user equalizer, That's so that you can make your own equalizer. And now moving on from the user equalizer functions, we have audio play. So we just press enter, and this is for the audio playback, in which I will show you later on this video. So we just press enter, and you can choose whether to have the audio playback repeat itself after the end of the song. At the moment it's off, but if you turn it on, and then the audio song will repeat itself. And we move on, we can change the volume of the audio. And the C cancel, I think that means that when you're playing a song, it will cancel the vocals part of the song. But that's currently off, but you can switch it on and off, just like that. And that's just some of the audio play functions. And now moving on with the functions, we're now going to select the registration memory functions. So we just press enter, and the first thing we see on the screen is the registration memory freeze target with the freeze button here. So basically what that does, well, I'll show you the different functions. Like the registration memory freeze target, we have like the rhythm, the tempo, the tones, split point, harmony, arpeggiator, transpose, scale, touch, effect, part tune, phrase pad, controllers, and so on. And basically what that does is when you press the freeze button, when you select different registration memory buttons, when you press these different buttons, that part will not change even if the buttons are being pressed. So I'll show you that now quickly. So we just turn off the freeze button and go through the registration memories I created earlier on this video. So we're just going to select registration memory button number 1 and play the rhythm. And now we're going to change the buttons, and as the buttons change, so will the rhythm. So that's just normal. So we just go back to the functions quickly. Registration memory, the freeze target, and as you can see, the rhythm's already turned on. So right now we're going to press the freeze button so that when we change a registration memory button, we select one of these buttons, the rhythms will not change at all. So just like that. So the rhythm will not change because the freeze button's turned on and the freeze target is turned on within the rhythm on this function here. Registration freeze target, and the rhythm, as you can see on the screen, is turned on. So if the freeze button's turned on, the rhythm will not change, even if these registration memory buttons are being pressed, and each button is assigned for a different rhythm. So the rhythms will not change, but the sounds will change. But if you want to turn that off, you can. Just go to the functions. And then turn the rhythm part off so that the rhythm doesn't freeze. So when you press these buttons, the rhythms will change. Just one more quick demonstration with the registration memory freeze button. What if you want to select a target and turn off the sounds? So we just go to tone. Oh, sorry, not turn off, turn on. So we just turn on the tone when it comes to the freeze button, so that when you press any of these registration memory buttons here, the sounds will not change because the sounds are frozen. So just like this. But if you turn it back off, let me just show you that real quick. So we're going to turn a tone off. So at the moment, there's no change with the tones. But then when we turn the tone off, the tones change as you press a different registration memory button. So that's just a quick demonstration of the registration memory freeze button. Okay, now moving on to the registration memory function. I've already covered the registration memory freeze target, in which you can freeze different settings, like so on the screen. We'll exit that, and we move on to the registration sequencer. Basically, you can select things like pedal 1, pedal 2, and off. Its default is off, but basically what it is, unfortunately, I don't have a Casio foot pedal or sustain pedal for me to show you this function, but basically what that is that you can switch through the registration memory buttons without pressing the buttons here. You could just use a foot pedal instead to toggle through the buttons. It says pedal 1 and pedal 2 and off. And that's just some of the registration memory functions. And now moving on with the functions, I don't have many more functions now to cover, so I'm almost done with the functions. But moving on, we're going to go to the metronome function. I've already showed you the metronome earlier on in this video, so we just press enter and we can change the metronome's beat number, just like this. But I've already showed that earlier on this video, and we move on, and we can change the speed of the metronome. So we'll select that. So you have the that's the normal speed, and then we can also double that speed. We also have here the metronome volume, so you can turn it up and turn it down. And that's just some of the metronome functions. And again, moving on, we're going to go to the speaker functions, press enter, and at the moment the speaker is enabled, but you can also disable the keyboard speakers as well. So let's just say if you was to, you're playing the keyboard on an amplifier. Basically you can disable the keyboard speakers, just like that. I've just turned it off, so there's no sound coming from the keyboard. But if your keyboard is connected to an amplifier, sound will come from the amplifier, but not from the keyboard's internal speakers. So that's disabled, and to enable it, just press this button here, and the speakers of the keyboard will be enabled again. And we also have the headphone speakers, which is set to off at the moment, but you can turn that on and off, just like the same with the keyboard speakers. And that's just a quick demonstration of the speaker functions. And now moving on, we go to the MIDI functions. We just press enter, and we have the keyboard channel here. Goes up to 16, and this is, I think this is like for MIDI when your keyboard is connected to a computer, in which this case this keyboard isn't connected to a computer at the moment. And we can select the local to off, well, on and off. So if the local's off, Again, that disables the keyboard, as you can hear, no sound. But turn it back on, you get the sounds again. And we have like a complement out, we can turn that on and off. And that's just some of the MIDI functions. And now we move on and we go to the media functions. And then as we press enter, it will say on the screen, error, no media. Because I think the media is basically the audio files on a USB stick, in which I haven't got a USB stick connected to the keyboard with any audio files on there. So that's probably something that I can show you when I demonstrate the audio play. And then finally, with the functions, we have other. So we press enter, and we can choose to tap rhythm on and off, and the part R channel, which is set to 4, part L channel, which is set to 3, MP key, I'm not sure what that means, but you can also toggle that on and off. Exam mode, you can turn that on and off. Contrast, in which you can change the contrast of the LCD. So it's set to 5. If you set it to 0, it will be its lightest. And if you set it to what I believe is going to be 17, then the LCD is at its darkest. So we just set that back to normal. And auto off, you can choose to have that on or off, but in that case it's turned on. Basically what that means is that when you don't touch the keyboard for 30 minutes, the keyboard will automatically turn itself off. But you can disable that simply by selecting off. And at resume, I think that means when you turn off the keyboard, it will stay in the settings that you have left it when you last used the keyboard. At the moment it's turned off, so the keyboard will basically reset itself. So let's just say, for instance, I'll show you that quickly now. So we're going to turn it on and say, actually we're going to turn it off, and we're going to select a tone, say we're going to select a brass sound. And then we turn off the keyboard and turn it back on. And as you know, the keyboard is reset to the piano sound, which comes on every time you turn on the keyboard. We're just going to go back to the other functions. At resume, we're going to turn it on. Select a tone. For this instance, we're just going to select, well, just any tone really. So just any random tone, and we're going to select trumpet. And because the at resume is turned on, we just turn off the keyboard, turn the keyboard back on again, and there we go. The keyboard is on the trumpet sound, just as you left it when you last used the keyboard. It also does the same with the rhythms as well. So it saves all your settings if the at resume is turned on. But if the at resume is turned off, then basically the keyboard will reset itself to the first sound and style that's on the keyboard when you turn it on. And there's the reset button. So we press enter. We can reset the settings of the keyboard. And we can also factory reset the keyboard, in which we won't do. Basically the factory settings, the factory reset is basically the keyboard will reset itself as it was when you've got the keyboard out the box. So we just exit that. And that's some of the other functions. And that is how you go through all the functions on this keyboard. The next thing I want to show you on this keyboard is the part button just here, which basically when you press the part button on the screen, you have all the different channels for certain parts. Like we have here the keyboard, and we also have the rhythm, where the keyboard is 1 to 9, the rhythm is 1 to 8, and the song system, which is 1 to 9, and 1 to 8 is song solo, and 9 to 16 as well. MIDI in, external, and those are just the part mixer functions. So right now I'm going to go through the mixer functions with the mixer button here, or part button. At the moment we've set it onto keyboard, which is 1 to 9, and on the screen here, if you can see, hopefully you can, we have the channel parts on here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. And in order to turn parts on and off with those channels, you use the numeric keypads here. And I believe that channels 1 and 2 is your right hand side of the keyboard, 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 is the left hand side of the keyboard, 1 and 2. I don't know what the 5th channel is, and the channel 6 to 9 is these phrase pads here. So I'll go through that with you quickly. So at the moment I set the sounds to piano and strings on the right hand side of the keyboard, and the bass and synth strings on the left hand side of the keyboard. And we can start turning parts on and off. So we just turn off the channel number 1, which is the right hand side of the keyboard 1, which was the piano. So all I'm getting is strings. Turn that back on, we get piano. Channel 2 is the right hand side of the keyboard 2. So now that I turn that off, all I'm getting is the piano. I turn that back on and get the strings again. And now the left hand side of the keyboard, we have the bass and synth strings. And we turn off channel number 3. The left hand side of the keyboard 1 is turned off, leaving me with just the synth strings. We turn that back on and we get the strings again, we get the bass again. And then channel number 4 is the left hand side of the keyboard 2, so we turn that off and all I'm getting is the bass. We turn that back on. So just like that really, and I'm not sure what the 5th channel is, but channels 6 to 9 is the phrase pads here, so I'll play them now. And I can turn those off with channel 6 to 9, just like this. And we can turn them back on. So that's just how you can turn parts on and off with the keyboard parts. And now moving on from the keyboard channel parts, we are going to select rhythm, which is 1 to 8. So on the screen you have channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we're going to go ahead now and select a rhythm style. So we just turn on the rhythm. Oh. We'll just turn the left hand side of the keyboard off, so we just get the rhythms. And from here we can turn off each part of a style. So just like this. So channel 1 and 2 is the drum parts 1 and 2. channel 3 is the bass. Channel 4 and 5 is the chords 1 and 2. And as we select a different variation, there you go, channel 6 is the phrase, or the strings, or phrase, one or the other, and 7, and then 8. So all channels are turned off, and now we're going to turn them all on again. So just like that. And that's how you go to the part section to turn parts of a style on and off. And now for the next part section, we have the song system. And basically what I've done right now is that I quickly recorded a song, just quickly, to give off this example. And we have song system 1 to 9, which is the channels of the sounds. So I'm going to play back what I've just recorded. And turn parts on and off. Also on here you can turn parts off the rhythm as well. That's also been recorded. So that's how you turn off parts of a song that you've recorded. Again, just like with the keyboard part mixer settings, 1 and 2 is the right hand voice 1 and 2, 3 and 4 is left 1 and 2, I'm not sure what the 5th channel is, and 6 to 9 is the phrase pads. So it just works the same way. And again, that's just how you turn parts of a recorded song on and off. And now moving on from there, we have the we have the song solo, which is altogether 16 channels, as you can see on the screen. There's 1 to 8, and we flip that over, and there's 9 to 16. And we also have the MIDI in, which is altogether 16 tracks. And finally, with the part settings, we have external. I think that's like if you had an external device, and there's only 1 channel, so you can like turn that on and off. So that's just some of the part settings. And now moving on from that, if you long hold the parts button here, if you just hold that, a menu will come up on the screen. And there's part on, in which you can turn parts on and off. You can also turn parts on and off that way as well. We use these cursors here to flip through the different channels, and we can turn parts on and off like that as well. So that's for the keyboard, and we'll exit that and go to the rhythm. Long hold the part button, and we can turn parts with a rhythm on and off the same way as well. So I'll show you that real quick. So you can just turn parts on and off, just like that. And just like with the keyboard part as well, hold down the part button, and using these cursors you can have different, like you can change the volume of the sounds. And we can change the pan pot of the sounds as well. So when the pan pot is all the way to 64 or 63, the piano sounds only comes from one speaker, while the echo is from the other speaker. So pan pot 63, basically the whole sound will be on the right speaker, whilst the reverb is on the left speaker. And then we change the pan pot to minus 63, or 64 for this case. The sound will come out of the left-hand speaker, and the reverb will be from the right speaker. But put that to default, and both the reverb and sound will be from both speakers. Now moving on from that, we're going to select the rhythm section. Hold down the part button, and we can also do the same for the rhythms as well. So we can change the volume of different channels. So I'll show you that quickly. For this instance, I'm going to select the drums. And we can change the pan pot on that channel as well. Hopefully with the video recorder you can pick up which speaker the drums are coming from. And we can also change the reverb level. So take it down to 0. There's no reverb. Put it up to 127. There's loads of reverb. We can do the same for the chorus, the delay, and so on. So you can do the same with the sounds and styles. And you can also do the same thing with the song system. Hold down the part button and do exactly the same as what I did with the styles and the sounds, and use it on the song system for songs that you have recorded yourself. We can also do the same for the song solo. We can also do the same for MIDI in. And external. So that's just a tip on how to use the part settings and mixer settings to turn parts on and off with the keyboard channels, style channels and song channels, and to change the sounds, styles and songs volume, reverb, chorus and delay levels. And now I'm going to show you how to create your own sounds. On top of the 800 built-in sounds this keyboard has, you also have on here, just go on to the categories, we have here 100 user tones in which you can create tones yourself. So yes, any of the 800 sounds can be modified so that you can create your own sounds with different effects, etc. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So first of all, you need to long hold the function button. Make sure the screen is set to the tone. Just like that. Long hold the function button so you can get the edit menu come up, in which you can change the attack time or the release time, cutoff and resonance, vibrato, octave shift, volume, velocity, sensitivity, reverb, chorus and delay send. And this is also where you can like change different DSP effects and so on. So we can change the attack time here. But for this case, I'm going to leave it as it is. And the release time, just like that. Sorry, I had to cut that part because when the release is on 127, it will fade very, very slowly, as you heard just there. So yeah, change the release time. But for this case, we're going to leave it as it is. And we can change the cutoff. Just like that. Unfortunately, there's no resonance and cutoff knobs for the so that you can alter the resonance and cutoff that way, like some keyboards do, like the Genos and the PSRS series have real-time control knobs for the resonance and cutoff. And yes, we can also change the resonance as well. And we can also change the vibrato. So we just press enter for that. And we have these different vibrato types. We'll exit that. We can change the octave shift. And the volume of the sound. The velocity sensitivity. With it turned to 0, or shall I say 64. There we go. We can also change the reverb send. So like the higher it is, the more reverb you will get. So we're going to set it to 46. We can also do the chorus send, so we can have more chorus. I mean, we can also delay send, so there'll be delay in the sound. So yeah, we're going to leave it like that, 127. And the DSP edit, in which we can change the DSP effects of the sound. So as we press enter, yes, we'll have the DSP on, but we can switch it on and off. DSP number, so we can change the different DSP effects, just like this. But the DSP numbers here with the sound is basically the sounds on the keyboard that are assigned to that DSP effect. So if we just go all the way up to 801, all the way up to 900, those are the 100 DSP effects on this keyboard. So we can go through them and change the DSP effects. So just like this. That sounds nice. Oh, yeah, so we'll leave it at that. We're going to make a distortion organ. So now that we chose our DSP effect, we can exit that. And then after that, you can exit that. It's telling us if we want to exit. We're going to select yes. And it's telling us if we want to write the sound we created. So in other words, save the sound that we created. So we're going to select yes. And there you go. That's our distortion organ created. Now with the tones 801 to 900, as you can see, when there's no data, the screen will come up saying no data. But if a sound has been saved, but you haven't named it yet, it'll come up saying no name. So right now I'm going to show you how to rename the sounds. So all you got to do is hold down the record stop button here to bring up this menu. So we have tone name, tone copy, tone clear if you want to delete it. So we're going to select tone name. And from there we're going to press enter. And then we can use the minus and plus button on the numeric keypad or this dialer wheel here so that we can rename our sound that we just created. And using these so that you can toggle through the different letters. So we are going to go ahead and rename our newly created sound. We're just going to give it a simple name. And then once you're happy with that, just press enter. And the screen is saying that, are you sure you want to rename into that tone? Just press yes. And there you go. Use the tone 801, which is dist org, short for distortion organ. So we have our newly created tone. So just like this. And that is how you create your own sounds and rename your sounds. Now the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you how to create your own styles. So first of all, make sure that the screen is on the rhythm section, just like that. And we're going to select one of the user rhythms titled No Data because there's nothing on it yet. And then we're going to do exactly what we did for creating a sound, is that we're going to long hold the function button to get the edit menu come up for the rhythms. And if you want to record a certain part for the rhythm that you're going to create, press the part button here and then press the numeric keypads 1 to 8. So we have percussions, drums, bass, chord 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. But for this case I am going to record the drums first. Now what I'm going to do for this example of creating your own styles is that I'm actually going to recreate a couple of the styles from the old Casio CT-K120 that I reviewed some years ago. I just want to thank one of my subscribers on YouTube for this idea. His username on YouTube is Keyboard Maestro, and a couple of weeks ago I've watched one of his videos of himself recreating some of the styles from the Casio CT-K120, he said that he watched my video of my CT-K120 keyboard that I reviewed some years ago, and he had the idea of creating some of the styles from that keyboard. So I would like to thank him for giving me this idea that I'm going to recreate a couple of the CT-K120 styles on my keyboard. He created the styles from the CT-K120 on his Casio CT-K7200. So first of all, what we are going to do is that we are going to select a drum kit for the style we are going to create. So just select tone and go through any of the drum kits that you want to select. So we are going to select room set. For the drum section of the channels, you can only select the drum kits. You can't select any other sound for the channels 1 to 2 because they're assigned for percussion and drums. And then what we're going to do is we are going to press the registration memory button number 8 to get the edit menu come up. And there's the setting element, which we are going to press enter, and we are going to have our style 2 measures long, and we're going to keep the beat exactly as it is. So once you're happy with that, just exit that. The styles that I'm going to recreate from the CT-K120 are the first 2 styles, Rock 1 and Rock 2. And you can see this little bit here, the flashing, which is basically the section you are going to do with the styles. So at the moment, it is on variation 1. So we're going to create a style for variation 1, but the CT-K120 only has 1 variation per style. So there's no like 2 variations or anything like that. It's just 1 variation and 1 fill-in. So this keyboard has 4 variations and 4 fill-ins. The CT-K120 did not have any intros or endings. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to recreate 2 of the styles from the CT-K120 on the same user rhythm from the CT-X5000. You can also adjust the tempo as well that you want it to be, but it's set to 120, so I think we are just going to leave it like that. And then once you're happy with the settings, one more thing you need to do, just hold down the record stop button. Nope, sorry. Press the record stop button and it says empty because there's nothing on that user rhythm. And then we're going to long hold the record stop button. And this is where you can change the quantizing of this style. Here are the different quantize settings of the style. We have like 4, 4D, 4T, 8, 8D, 8T, 16, 16D, 16T, 32, 32D and 32T. Sorry, 32D and 32T. So for this rhythm we are going to select our quantize to 8 because it's basically almost like an 8-beat style. So we are going to select our quantize to 8. I think the most common quantize settings to create a style is 8 and 16. So we finished selecting our quantize setting, and then once you're ready, just press the stop button to start recording your rhythm that you're going to create. So yes, just press the stop button and then get ready to record your drums. Would also be best to turn on the metronome so you can keep in time. As you can see, measure 1 and 2 comes up on the screen. Hopefully you can see that. And then once you're ready, start playing. So that's our drums recorded for variation A, or shall I say variation 1. And then once you've done with the drums, press the part button here and press numeric keypad number 3 to start recording a bass for your newly created style. And then go to press tone to select which bass or any sound you want. For this case, we're going to stick with that sound. And then once you're ready, just press the record stop button, then the start stop button, and record the bass part. So just like that. And now the last part we are going to do with the CT-K120 style is that we are going to press the part button, and we are going to select chord 1. Select our tone, in which this case we're going to select the first sound that's on the keyboard, the stage piano. That's it. Make sure it's set to chord 1. So we've got the piano. Once you're ready, press the record stop button and press start stop once you're ready to record. So that's the main style, Rock 1, from the Casio CT-K120 completed. And now we are going to work on the fill-in of that style. So in order to do that, we're going to change the variation here. Press the variation 1 button, and then on the screen that will change so that you're getting ready to record the fill-in. And we're going to select drums first of all, and then we're going to select the same drum sound as before, the room set, and then we press the record stop button. Make sure that the quantize is how we want it to be, and then once you're ready, press the record stop button, and then get ready to record the first part of the fill-in. Oh, let's just put the tempo up. So that's the drum part recorded. And now we're going to record the bass part of the fill-in. So we just press the part button, select 3, which is the bass. Select our tone, which is the same one as the main part of the style, so we're going to leave that as it is. Press the record stop button, and once you're ready, press the start stop button to start recording. And now that's done, we're going to press the part button and record our chord part. We're going to select the tone. We're going to have it as the stage piano, just like with the main part of the style, but now we're going to record the chord part of the fill-in. So once you select a tone, press the record stop button, and then once you're ready, press start stop to start recording. So that's the Rock 1 style from the CT-K120 completed. We're going to exit that just to save it, and we're going to write it. So here's what the style will sound like. And now we are going to do Rock 2 with the fill-in on variation 2. But before we start on Rock 2 style from the Casio CT-K120 on variation 2 as well as the fill-in, if you notice here, when you play minor chords, just like this, it doesn't really exactly sound like what it would sound like on the CT-K120. So we're going to go back to the edit menu here and make sure we select chord 1 as our part that we want to edit. Press registration memory button number 8 to get the edit menu come up, and we're going to select part and enter, and we're going to go on to the table menu here, which is basically style conversion table, which like converts like the chords, etc. So here's what it sounds like on table 5, because that's what the default is. So, oops, there we go. We change the different tables for different chords. So let's say table 8, for instance. See, it just converted the major chords, just like this. But we'll do one more example. So let's say table 13. Notice that there's no minor chords, but at least I found out what the right table is to make the style sound exactly like the CT-K120. So it's actually table 17. So now we play major chords and minor chords just like this. Oops, sorry. So yeah. So just like that. So once you're happy with that, press exit. And then exit, press yes. Right, we're happy with that. So yes, we'll save that. So now the style sounds exactly what it would sound like on a CT-K120. So that's just a quick example on how to use the chord conversion table. And now we're going to start on the style from the CT-K120 Rock 2, along with the fill-in. So what we're going to do now is go back to the edit function by long holding the function button. Make sure we select variation 2 to record a style for variation 2. Go to the edit menu here, and we're going to go to element and have it 2 measures long. Exit that. Then we're going to select our drum kit, because I'm going to record the drum parts first, and I'm going to have it on exactly the same drum kit as the Rock 1 style. Then press the record stop button, then hold it down, set your quantize, in which we're going to select 8. Then press the record stop button, and then once you're ready, start recording. So that's the drum parts done for Rock 2. And now we're going to record the bass part of Rock 2. So we're going to press the part button, select number 3 for the bass, select our tone. I think we're going to have the same bass tone as Rock 1. And then press the record stop button, and once you're ready, start stop to start recording. So just like that. And now we're going to record the chord 1 of Rock 2. So we just press the part button here, press button number 4 on the keypad for chord 1. And then we're going to select our tone. We're going to use a different tone to what we used for the chord 1 of Rock 1, which was the stage piano. And then we're going to select tone 440. And then we just press the record stop button. And then start stop to start recording. So just like that. And now we're going to record one more part of the Rock 2 style. So we just press the part button and keypad number 5 to get chord 2. Select our tone. Yeah, select any tone you want. For this instance, I'm going to use clean guitar 7, which is like this. Oh. Then we press the record stop button and start stop to start recording. So just like that. And now we're going to go back to the chord 1. And go to edit menu. And we're going to go to part. We press enter. And we're going to select the same chord conversion table as we did with Rock 1. Just to make it sound like this. Because if it was on table 5, it would sound like this. So we're going to select chord conversion table 17. And then once you're happy with that, we're going to exit that and write it to save it. So that's Rock 2 saved, and now we're going to work on the filling of Rock 2. And now we're going to do the filling of Rock 2. So we go back to the edit menu and make sure we press variation 2 times so we can get the filling come up. We are then going to select our tone, which will be the same drum kit. Oh. And press the record stop button. Make sure that the quantize is on the right setting that we want it to be. Then press the record stop button. Then start stop to start recording. So that's the drum part done. And now we're going to record the bass of filling of Rock 2. So press part 3, bass, select the tone. We're going to have it on that tone. Then press record stop button here. Then start stop to start recording. So that's the bass part done for the fill-in. And now we're going to record the chord part of the fill-in. So again, just the part button, numeric keypad number 4 to get the chord 1 come up on the screen. We're going to select our tone, which will be the same tone as we did of the main part of Rock 2, which is 440. And then we press the record stop button and then start recording. So now we've got Rock 1 and Rock 2 main part and fill-in complete. So now we are going to exit that. It's telling us to exit, yes. Right, yes, so that we can save the rhythm we created. And now we're going to rename our rhythm. So just like I did with the tone creator, we can also do the same thing with the rhythm creator. Just hold down the record stop button so that you can rename your rhythm, copy a rhythm, or delete a rhythm. And we're going to rename our rhythm. So we're going to press enter. And then we're going to give our new style a name. So there we go, we just renamed our rhythm. We called it Rock 1 and Rock 2 because those are the styles from the Casio CT-K120. So once you're happy with that, just press enter and it says, are you sure? We're going to select yes. Then go back to the rhythm and there we go. That's Rock 1 and Rock 2 from the Casio CT-K120. So here's the completed results. So that's Rock 1, and now Rock 2. And that is how you can create your own rhythms. Just one more thing with the rhythms is that my subscriber on YouTube, Keyboard Maestro, has requested this. He requested that I recreate some of the styles that are from the old Yamaha PSR 500. Now, I recreated these styles before I showed the example on how to create your own rhythms. So, I recreated 2 of the styles from the PSR 500. I recreated Soul Ballad 1 and Soul Rock. Now, Soul Ballad 1 is style number 19 on the PSR 500, and Soul Rock is style number 35. So first of all, we're going to select Soul Ballad 1. Now, on Soul Ballad 1, I didn't bother doing the intros and ending, and I didn't bother doing the fill-ins of variation 1 and 2. All I did with the Soul Ballad 1 is that I recreated variations 1 and 2. I didn't bother doing the intro and ending and fill-ins. So here is the PSR 500. I'm now going to show you what the style sounds like on the PSR 500. So here it is. Okay, so now that you've heard what the style sounds like on the PSR 500, here's what it sounds like recreated on the Casio CT-X5000. So we're just going to set the tempo to default. And here is Soul Ballad 1 from the PSR 500. So that's Soul Ballad 1, recreated from the PSR 500. And now here is Soul Rock. And this one's going to be different because I didn't do the intros and endings for this style, but I've done variation 1 and 2 and fill-in 1 and 2. So again, I'm going to show you the PSR 500 style, Soul Rock, so that you can hear what the style sounds like on that keyboard. Here it is. Okay, so now that you heard what the style sounds like on the PSR 500, we're going to play it on a CT-X5000 in which I recreated. So we're going to set the tempo to the default of when I created this style. And here's what it sounds like on the CT-X5000. So that's the Soul Rock style, recreated on the Casio CT-X5000 from the PSR 500 Yamaha. And again, that is how you create your own rhythms. And thank you to Keyboard Maestro for giving me the idea of recreating some of the Casio CT-K120 styles after I've watched his video, and that he said that he was inspired by my video of the CT-K120 that I reviewed some years ago. So I gave him the idea of recreating the CT-K120 styles on his Casio keyboard, the CT-K7200, which also gave me the idea of recreating the Casio CT-K120 styles on my CT-X5000. And also thank you again to Keyboard Maestro for giving me the suggestion of recreating some of the styles from the Yamaha PSR 500. And now I'm going to show you how to record a song. So we're going to select our sound and rhythm, just like that. And on the song bank, make sure we select song banks 31 to 40, which is multi-recording 1 to 10, because on this keyboard there are 10 user songs for you to record yourself. So we're going to select multi-record 1. Make sure we got the right sound and rhythm, and put the tempo on default. And then once you're ready, press the record stop button. And we'll turn on the accompaniment and the synchro start stop. And then once you're ready, you can start playing, just like this. And then once you finish that, just press the record stop button to stop the recording. And there you go. That's the first part of the song complete. So just like that. Now to record another track, we're going to select a sound. We're going to select this one. And then we're going to go to the song bank, multi-record 1. And then we're going to hold down the record stop button. Oh, sorry, no. We're going to press the record button. And it says record track. And for this one, we're going to, there are altogether 16 tracks, or should I say 17 tracks, because this keyboard has a 17-track sequencer. And we're going to record track number 2, so that we don't overwrite what we've just recorded. And then once you're ready, you can start to play. And then press the record stop button again to stop recording, and that's the second track recorded. So now the recording would sound like this. So that's how you make a multi-track recording using the rhythms. And now I'm going to show you how to record a song without using any of the rhythm styles. So in other words, making a complete orchestra from scratch. So first of all, we're going to select our sound, which is the stage piano, and go to the song bank, and we're going to select multi-record 2. We're going to set our tempo, and then press the record stop button, and we're going to select track 1, and we're going to turn on the sustain for the piano, and then once you're ready, start playing. Oh, and also turn on the metronome so you can keep in time. And then then you just press stop to stop recording. So here's the first part. So that's our first part of the multi-track record done. And now we're going to record track number 2. So we're going to select a sound. So we just use that sound. We're going to go to the record stop button and then select track 2 to record track 2. And then we just turn on the metronome. And then when you're ready, start playing. Then press stop to stop recording. So that's the second track recorded. So it sounds like this. So that's track 2 recorded. And now the last example I'm going to do, recording a track without using any rhythms, is that we're going to record track number 3. So first of all, we're going to select our tone. We are going to select sound number 317. The solo flute. We're going to turn the octave up 1. Oh. Turn the octave up 1. Then we just press the record stop button and select track 3. Then once you're ready, just press the metronome so you can keep in time and then start playing. Then press stop to stop recording. So that's the third track recorded. So now the orchestra sounds like this. We'll play that again quickly because the tempo is turned up. So that's our orchestra completed, and that is how you do a multi-track recording without using any of the rhythms, so that you can make your own orchestra from scratch. I've done 3 tracks for this example, but in total you can have up to 17 tracks because this keyboard has a 17-track sequencer. So again, that's how you record your songs. And right now, I'm now going to show you how to record your own phrase pads with the phrase buttons here. So we just go to function and then go to the phrase pad option and then press enter, and then we can choose between 1 to 25 phrase sets because there are 25 phrase sets in total on this keyboard. So for this instance, we're going to select phrase 1. All phrase sets sound the same in default. So what we're going to do is that we're going to long hold the record stop button and then we're going to clear the phrase set. So we just press enter. Are you sure? Select yes. And then notice, because now that the phrase pad 1 has been cleared, nothing comes up on the phrase pads here. And this is where you can start to record your own phrase sets. So we're going to press the record stop button, and once you do that, there's a menu that come up saying length, so you can have length 1 to 16 depending on how long you want the phrase to be. So we're going to leave it select length number 2. and then we're going to set the quantizing to keep in time, in which we're going to select 8, and then after that we're going to select our sound that we're going to use for this recording, and then once you're ready, just press the metronome button and start playing to start your recording. So that's phrase pad button number 1 on phrase set 1 recorded. And now we're going to record phrase pad button number 2 on phrase set 1. So just go to the function again, phrase pad, phrase set 1, press record stop, and notice on the screen that the button number 1 is flashing, but we've already recorded that, so we're just going to press phrase pad button number 2, and then button number 2 on the screen will start flashing, which means that button number 2 is ready to be recorded. And then we're going to select our sound, 212, we're going to use synth bass 7. And then we're going to go down an octave. And then once you're ready, just press the metronome button and start recording. And then stop recording once you've finished. And now we have phrase pad buttons number 1 and 2 recorded. So just like that. And now I'm going to do one more example of the phrase set to record your own phrase pads, etc. And we're going to record a phrase for phrase pad button number 3. So we just go to function again, phrase pad and phrase set number 1, and then press the record stop button and press phrase pad button number 3 so that the number 3 button on the screen is flashing, getting ready to be recorded. And then we're going to select our tone, which is the synth strings 1. I'm going to record phrase pad button number 3. And once you're ready, just press the metronome and start recording. And then press record stop button to stop the recording once you're ready. So now phrase pad number 1, 2 and 3 have been recorded on phrase set number 1. So just like this. And we can play that on top of the rhythm, so it also keeps track of the chords that we're playing. So it matches the same chords that we play, just like this. And now we're going to play that on top of a rhythm. So just like that. And that is how you can create your own phrase pad settings. There are altogether 25 phrase sets in total to record your own phrase pads. I selected phrase set number 1 and only recorded 3 out of the 4 possible buttons that you can record on the phrase pad. And that is how you can record your own phrase pads. And now the last thing I want to show you on this keyboard is the audio play functions. So first of all, get your USB stick and then plug it in the keyboard on the to device section of the USB. And first of all, make sure that you format your USB stick before using it on the keyboard to get all the functions that come up on the keyboard. So I've already done that, and in order to get the audio play come up, just hold down the hold down the song bank button here, and it will come up with the audio. But since I've only just put the USB stick in the keyboard, it comes up on the screen as mounting. So it's just mounting all the data from the USB drive onto the keyboard. So this could take some time. So now that it's finished mounting, you can start playing audio files on the Casio CT-X5000. And when you have your USB stick onto a computer, make sure you put the audio files in a folder called music.dat. The folder appears on the computer after you've formatted the USB stick on the Casio keyboard. And for this example of the audio playback, I did exactly what I did with my second tutorial of the Genos, when I said that I've exported some WAVs from the music software that I use sometimes called EJ for the multipad audio link on the Genos. And I did exactly the same for this example of the Casio CT-X5000. What I did is that I've exported the built-in mixes on EJ and put them onto a USB stick, and now they appear on the keyboard. Well, I renamed them on the computer. There's EJ Dance, House and Techno. And in order to play the audio files, just press the record stop button, because down there it says play stop with the audio. So here we go. So that's just a few of the EJ tracks that I've put on the USB stick, and that's how you can play back audio tracks on the Casio CT-X5000. And now we're going to go through the functions, and we're going to go to the audio play function, which I couldn't show earlier on because I didn't have a USB stick in the keyboard that had audio files in it. So we're just going to press enter. Well, first of all, we're going to select our audio file. I should have done that first of all. So go back to audio play and press enter. And we have repeat, which is turned off. So whenever a song finishes, it repeats itself if it's turned on. And we have the volume, so we can turn up and down the volume of the audio file. But the default is 100. And now the C cancel is basically the center cancel or vocal cut. But note that this function cancels the sound in the center position of the audio, which may, depending on how the original audio was mixed. So it might end up cancelling something else other than the vocals part. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So it doesn't always necessarily cancel the vocals part. So we just play back our audio file. And then we're going to turn the C cancel on. So it just cancels everything in the center position of the audio.
Come on and take me high.
So there you see that the vocal wasn't in the center of the audio.
To the rhythm. Jam to the beat.
So just like that. So that's how you cancel the center part of the audio, which isn't always the vocals. So as well as showing you the audio playback here, which I've just done, I'm going to go to function again. Well, exit that. Go to function. And we're going to go to media, now that we've got a USB stick in the keyboard. I couldn't show this part because... I couldn't show that part when I was going through the functions because I didn't have a USB stick in the keyboard when I was doing it. So now that there's a USB stick in the keyboard, we go to the function media, press enter, and we can like load, save, delete, rename, format, like basically format the USB stick, and we just press enter to load. We can load our user tones, rhythms, multi-recordings, registration memory banks, phrase sets, and all data. If we have all those on a USB stick, we can load them onto the keyboard. And we can save our tones, rhythms, multi-recording, and standard MIDI files, registration memory bank, phrase sets, and all data. So if we want to save all our data onto the USB stick, we can do that. And delete, which we won't do, or rename, and format. So those are just some of the media functions. So that's just a quick tip of the media functions. Now we go back to audio. We just hold down the song bank button to get the audio files. We can play them back, just like I showed you. And that is how you use the audio play functions, in which you can play back audio files and send to cancel certain parts, not necessarily the vocals. Depends on what's in the center of the audio, and having the repeat on and off. So yeah, that's again how you use the audio play functions. So that's the end of the Casio CT-X5000, showing all the features and functions on this tutorial of the CT-X5000. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that this video is very long, is that I wanted to do my best to go through every single feature and functions that I can on this keyboard. And as you can see with the function buttons, with the function button and the function editing and all that, it's not really straightforward. It's not really that simple. Like if you compare it to, say, the Yamaha PSR-S keyboards or Tyros and Genos, they're much more easier to go through the functions on those keyboards than it is on this one. But again, I do hope you have enjoyed this review and tutorial of this this Casio CT-X5000, and next I'll be showing all of the sounds of the Casio CT-X5000. Showing all the sounds is probably going to be a four-parter, so I'm going to do about 4 videos showing all of the sounds on the CT-X5000, because there's so many sounds, and I want to go through them all with you. And so yeah, I think it's best to have a sort of a four-parter video. So yes, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and please do write back to me and tell me what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video, in which I'll be showing you the sounds on the Casio CT-X5000.